Well, hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us for this weekend edition of Hebrew Word Study. And so glad to be back sharing out of the Hebrew Gospel of Matthew from the Harley manuscript. And as we're continuing in chapter 5 of Matthew and looking at the Beatitudes and coming to the next one, which is in verse 10, just some interesting things I want to share with you today. If you notice when you're reading through the Beatitudes, something that stands out is there seems to be some repetition, especially when it comes to the realm of heaven or the kingdom of heaven or the sons of God. And there are different attributes that will seemingly result in the same um, blessing, if you will, or the same result. And so we're going to notice that in verse 10 here, that it's very similar to verses 3 and verse 6 of the same chapter, where it says to them is the kingdom, or as I prefer, the realm of heaven. And we're going to take a look at that and see if we can find a connection as to why all of these three verses lead to the same ending. So as we look at verse 10, starts out Ashrei Sheyerudefu. And of course, Ashrei we have not translated. If this is your first time listening to this Zoomcast, please go back a few lessons, and there I unpack the word Ashrei and explain why I prefer to leave it not translated. So it's Ashrei, and it's in the uh, construct form. So it's Ashrei of these this quality or these people who are receiving Ashrei because of what's happening here in this word of She Yerudafu. And so what's interesting here is this vowel pointing of the three little dots at a slight angle underneath the consonant resh is called a kibbutz, and it is somewhat of a rare use of that vowel pointing. Normally you would see a shurig used many more times for the same type of sound. Phonetically, they sound at least the same as much as I'm aware. So when you see a kibbutz, it's something that you take a little bit of a notice. I searched through the Masoretic text, which is what's comprised of the Tanakh, and I did not see any other use of this in this word here. So it's kind of a strange one. So I'm not quite sure. Let's unpack this word of 7291, and we see that it is the root word of radaf, and it means to pursue, to chase after, can mean persecute. Obviously, someone who's persecuted is being pursued and chased after. Can mean to follow after. So we have to look at the context and say, well, why did the writer choose to um, use this, or why did Jesus speak this here? And so that's again very, very interesting. So this uh, Yuridifu is what are they pursuing, and what are they what's coming after them? You'll see some of the translations will say that people are persecuted on account of righteousness, and I'm not sure that. Obviously, that can be a true statement that there are people who are persecuted, but what's beautiful about the Hebrew is it allows us to see that there's two meanings to this. And so I'm not discounting that those that are persecuted, obviously, there are other scriptural references that talk about the reward for those who are persecuted. But if we try to understand the word sadiq, which is translated righteousness in English, and I've spoken about that before too, that word was created by the translators. I believe it might have been Tyndale when he created one of the first English translations of the Hebrew Bible, and there was no English word that matched this, so he created the word righteousness. That is a good understanding, but when we look at the word tzaddik, we know from previous studies that there's much greater depth and much more to that word than just being a good person or doing good things. It's a deep word. And so I left it untranslated just for that purpose to inspire whoever chooses to study or read from here to do your own search on this word tzaddik. It's a very important word in the Jewish Hebrew culture, talked about in all of the synagogues, and it is a in their teaching, it is one of the basic necessities to have to show that a life is productive, to show that you are contributing back to society, to show that you are of a heart that is not selfish. And so tzaddik can cover so many different avenues. And many times it shows up with just giving of money. Orthodox synagogues will have what's called um, a box of tzaddik box or a tzedakah box, excuse me, and where you would put coins in when something good would happen to you, you show your gratitude by giving an offering. And so there's many different meanings for this word tzaddik. Um, but here, Jesus is saying that this person who is ashrei either is blessed or will be blessed when they pursue this tzaddik in a way that's identified by this word here of 5668 of ba'avud, ba'avur, excuse me. And so let's unpack avur and take a look at this. And this is an account of it's an accounting term, and it is a way of getting from one place to another. It's a way of achieving a goal or an intended outcome. And so, with that thought in mind, as we look at this essence of trying to um, create the tzaddik. So that's why I chose the interpretation I did, that Ashrei would be these people where they pursue on account of producing tzedakah, tzaddik, these good works, these essence of what comes out of you expressed in your actions and in your words that it doesn't just come naturally. It doesn't just, even though some people may find it easier to come about than others, but it can be something that a person can see the value of and they will pursue it, that they will try to cultivate it in their life. They will take steps to either learn or pray or seek God's will in their life or seek direction. They will, and all of these are very valuable avenues, but they will use these and maybe many more for the purpose of doing tzaddik, of doing righteous works, of being their part because they feel this drawing them and inside of them, and they will pursue it just like someone who's persecuted is being pursued by someone who has evil and ill will against them. The contrast of that is this person here would pursue goodness and for the reason of producing it, of not just acquiring it for themselves, but to produce it in order for it to be given away. And I believe that's where the key comes in here of how this relates to verse 3 and verse 6, because this would be the fruit or the outward expression of what's referenced before of kindness and the hesed that was expressed in the other verses. And so this is kind of the synopsis or the culmination of what was spoken about before, that those essence of kindness and of mercy would be expressed through actions to others. And of course, this is caused in the perfect sense by a changed heart that desires to fulfill these, that their heart is being changed through their desire to draw near to God, and God is giving them these inclinations, the motivation, and the purpose to do these good things and good deeds, and then it expresses it at the end, ki lahem malchut hashemayim, for to them this is the realm of heaven. And to me, it's just another indication of what heaven is going to be like, what God's perfect kingdom truly entails, and that is to desire to do things for other people, desire to help people, to not be selfish, and to give of yourself in whatever way God inspires you to do. So I hope you enjoyed this maybe a little different unpacking of verse 10 of Matthew chapter 5. But to me, it fits together very nicely. And I thank you so much that you are taking interest to listen. And may God continue to bless you as you ashray in whatever way God leads you. God bless you. Bye bye.